So hopefully you match and you don't need to worry about any of the things that I'm going to talk about today. But let's say that did not work out. What will happen next is going to be SOAP. SOAP is a process in which the people who did not match, they get connected with the programs, they did not fill their programs. So in that case, if there is an empty spot, people start trying to get these access to these spots and interviewing and hopefully matching in these programs. As you will see, and I'll show you on the match calendar itself, the process is very quick. There is not much time to prepare an interview, and that's why I wanted to do this session today, because if we do it tomorrow, it's gonna be too hectic and you won't have time to do anything. So I want to share my screen and I want to show you the match calendar from the match website. So tomorrow is match day, so at 10 a.m. Eastern time, you will know whether you matched or not. SOAP starts at 11. So at 11 a.m. you start knowing which programs are available or have empty spots. And then you can start looking at these programs and preparing your applications from 11 a.m. until 8 a.m. the next day. So you technically only have almost half a day to do that. So that's why it's very quick process. ERAS application, you don't need to change, so it's the same application that you submitted. The only section you can actually change is the personal information, so you don't need to worry about ERAS application much, because you can't actually change it. This is the ones that you submitted before will be the same one you submit now. What you can change is the personal statement and LORs. Personal statements, if you submitted a personal statement, you don't necessarily need to submit a new one saying that, oh, I did not match. You can submit the same one. It still applies. People understand it's one day. But if you want to mention that, you can add a paragraph. We're happy to help you with that if you need to. But you don't necessarily need to change your personal statement if it was good. If it was not good, it's a good time to make it better. But if it was good, you can keep using the same personal statement. Regarding LORs, quickly, if you applied, let's say, University of Wisconsin, and you already submitted 4 LORs to that program, you're not allowed to add more LORs, even if they have an empty spot now. If you did not apply to that program before, if you did not submit LORs to that program before, you can submit up to 4 LORs. So you have to understand, you have a max of 4 LORs during both the initial and SOAP. If you already used 3 of the 4 spots, you're only allowed to add 1. If you used 4, it's gone. You can't add more LORs. So the same LORs that you submitted before will be shown. When the program starts seeing your application, 8 a.m. on the next day. So Tuesday on March 18 at 8 a.m. they start looking at your application. And they spend some time because programs need to look at all these applications and review them. So they have almost a day and a half. So March 18 and March 19. So Tuesday and Wednesday they're reviewing application. And Thursday on March 20th they give you the interviews. First round is at 9, second round is at noon, third round is at 3, and fourth round is at 6. All these happen on the same day. So the interviews happen on Thursday. You submit your application on Tuesday, they review your application Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday rounds of interviews. So round 1 starts at 9, so you expect to get calls, to get interviews, emails on March 20th at 9 a.m. If you are delayed responding to these offers, they will expire. So you have to be very careful and not make these expire. How do they look like? Here. I'm going to show you this from the NRMP website. You'll see here, see if I can make this bigger. You will see here pending offers. You have 0 here, for example, but then you might see 2. So you need to click on these and see these offers. And if you don't respond within 2 hours, they will expire and you will lose your chance of these places. So be very quick in responding. So what you can do is wait an hour, see if you get more offers, and then click on the offer, review the offer, think about it. And once you click yes, I accept the offer, you see accept, reject. Once you click accept offer, you're matched there. So there is not much happening here. If they call you, they give you an offer and you click accept offer, you're matched. It's over. If you reject offer, you go to round 2 and 3 and 4. But be mindful, every round that passes, the chances of you matching goes down, because you can imagine that most people want to match at these places, so they don't go for round 2 and 3. So most of the spots will be gone by round 1. So unless you really do not like this place and you prefer not to match than match at this program that you rejected, I think you should accept the offer unless, again, you don't see yourself, surviving in that program or living in that place for, 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 years. So, and then March 21st, for people who matched, they know where they matched, because if you already accepted an offer, you know that you match at that place. And that's quickly the overall process of SOAP, the accepting, rejecting offers that I showed you here. And if once you know that you did not match, you can go here, log in your NRMP, and you will see whether you matched or not. And you can see the list of unfilled programs, and you can click on the specialty, and you can apply to 45 programs and across all specialties. So you can't apply 45 PAIDS, 45 IM, 45 anesthesia, to apply 45 across all specialties, except plastic surgery and OBGYN, which has a special situation. So that's, again, the quick process of SOAP. I want to give this overview, touch base on the main points, and then we'll go into the nuances of your questions and any special situations you have. So that's SOAP. I want to talk about SOAP first. Second, let's talk about second options, or what can we do next? What if I don't match? What are my second options? So the second option you have if you don't match, in my opinion, is research positions. And that's why we're hosting a webinar and a workshop on March 21st, which is 23rd, which is Sunday of that match week. So you know whether you matched or not and where on Friday. We give you the day off, and on Sunday we're doing the webinar to teach you how to find research positions. Why this time is the perfect time? Because you can imagine a lot of people who are doing research in the US actually leave. Why? Because they match. If they didn't match, it's a different story, but most people actually match, and once they match, that means these spots are empty. Because you can imagine a lot of people will not give these spots away before they know they matched or not. So once they know they match, their mentors would start looking for people to fill these spots. And that's why we made this workshop at that time, because we know that this is the best time to actually look for research positions. Why do I believe research positions are helpful? Because first, you're spending time in the US, building connections in the US, getting LORs in the US, possibly doing rotations in the US. Why? Because your mentor who is doing research, I prefer always clinical mentor, and we can talk about that during the research workshop. These people have connections, or they do clinical work, so you can do also a USCE with them instead of spending thousands of dollars on a rotation. So that's one. Number two, you build your CV. You have more publications and stuff. You have connections. People reach out to you. People would value, what you're doing more than if you're spending time in your home country preparing for interviews or preparing for whatever. So you can see the value of research positions. So that's one. Number two is doing rotations. But I always say, whenever it comes to not matching, and for those people who are enrolled in our packages, silver, platinum, gold, you'll get access to this fully for free. So hopefully you match, but if you unfortunately did not match, let us know by Friday and we'll give you access to this fully for free. If you are not signed up for any of our packages, let us know and we can give you a discount on that. So that's number one. Number two, I would recommend you analyze what was the problem. Why did you not match? If you did not match because you've never spent time in the US and set foot in the US, maybe spend time in the US. Maybe come and do rotations here through connections, through emails, LinkedIn, or companies. If you have never done research, maybe research is a good thing. If you have very low scores, consider doing step 3. But be mindful of step 3. I've seen this a lot, that people do step 3 and then they score lower and they don't match, because now they're even in a much disadvantaged situation. So these are the main categories: improving scores, rotations, research, and there are other stuff like doing work or doing something like a research tech, which is not a research fellow that I actually advise for. It's a research tech or a lab technician or ultrasound technician, MRI assistant, nurse assistant. In my opinion, these jobs are not very helpful. Not as helpful. It's better than doing nothing, but they're not as helpful as being in contact with people who will likely choose you. So just be mindful about these things when it comes to what are you going to do. And that's why I highly recommend you talk to somebody who's experienced with the process. And that's why we have advisors from all specialties to guide you on this, because If you do something wrong and you spend 3-4 months doing something wrong and it's taking you to a totally different route where you should be, you're wasting so much time and money from your potential career. Remember, the salary of a physician in the US is around 300 to 500,000, and if you delay you getting that salary, you're losing that money technically. So just think about these things, and that it's definitely worth it to talk to maybe not even one person, multiple people, even if you had to pay for it, because you don't want to make mistakes that would cost you a lot of money by losing on that attending time salary. We always think of like, oh, I'm not gonna pay like few $100s for this advice, but this advice might just put you on a totally different trajectory. So that's something to keep in mind. And for those preparing for SOAP, highly recommend you prepare for interviews now, because if you get usually some people might just call you. They're not gonna schedule an interview with you. So they might just call you an interview very quickly, because you can imagine there is a very quick turnaround. It's only 2 hours. So between the time they interview and give you an offer, it's like an hour or two. So that's why you need to be prepared even before you get the offer and before you get the interview. So if you want to do something other than preparing your application, because your personal statement and LORs, because the ERAS you cannot change, is interview prep. So that's, again, quick overview of what can you do if you don't match, and we will go into details of the questions you have. But now let's talk about what if you match, which is hopefully the news, and hopefully most of you end up matching. The first thing is you need to see, are you J1, H1, or you're a green card citizen. If you're a green card citizen, you don't need to worry about any of that. Great. It's like perfect. So now if you're a J1 holder, you need to go through the hassle of getting your statement of need and getting the approval from the ECFMG or the sponsorship from ECFMG for your visa. Now there is a new travel ban that got released yesterday. So will that affect your country? Usually doctors are exempt from all these kind of travel bans because they need them. There is, you match at the residency program. So there is always kind of exceptions. Even if your country is on the list, you might still be exempt. Highly recommend you reach out to lawyers about that. I'm not a lawyer, I can't give you legal advice. So you need to start this process because sometimes it takes time, especially the statement of need from your home country to get the J1 sponsorship. Now, if you are on if you apply to a program that would allow you to get H1B, that is much better, because H1B is a much less restrictive visa. You can moonlight, for example. You can do other jobs in your institution when you're in H1. You can get a green card immediately after you finish your residency without having to go back to your home country or having to go through the waiver system. So it's much easier visa to deal with and live with. But not all hospitals sponsor that because it costs them money. So that's why most institutions sponsor the J1, because ECFMG sponsors that. What do you need to get the H1B? You don't need statement of need, but you need your step 3. So make sure if you're hoping to get a step H1B, you need your step 3 result. And as you remember from step 1 and step 2, you have to wait for 3 weeks after you finish your result, after you finish your exam. So you can imagine that you need to almost be done with your step 3 by mid-March, which is we're already mid-March, so you can get your result by like April approximately, and that will be, barely enough time for programs to sponsor your H1B visa. So you will see lawyers will reach out to you and tell you, well, that's not going to be enough time because, it's only one month left, versus you having everything ready, give them the scores that you passed, and that will expedite the process for you. So that's regarding the visa. There will be a lot of paperwork that you have to fill, orientations, the license stuff, malpractice insurance. There will be a lot of paperwork that the coordinator will just send you. And so make sure you just respond to them and fill all this information very quickly so you don't cause any delays in your visa and your start date. And you're pursuing residency. So, and finally is clinical, readiness. Are you ready to clinically start residency in the US? And for that, there are multiple ways to prepare yourself. If you're a surgical resident, there are surgical resources. Prepare for the upside, general surgery. You can start practicing tying, suturing. So when you start, you're ready to be on the level of US grads. If you're someone in internal medicine, probably step 2 knowledge and step 3 knowledge will be great push for you to start, and then you can start dive deeper into more internal medicine resources. And you will start, let's say you're on cardio rotation, you will start reading more cardio stuff. You're on a CCM rotation, critical care, you're starting critical care stuff, and people will help you with that. Don't worry too much about the electronic medical system, because people will teach you about that. So I would not worry too much about that. I would focus mainly on the knowledge. I think that's pretty much everything I want to cover. I want to leave some time for questions, and then we can wish everyone best luck for tomorrow. Okay, so let's start here. Let me see what the first question is. We talked about the SOAP, Plan B, we talked about Plan B. I have been already in research position for a few years, and it is third year apply. Anything else I can do to best better my chances? So that's one of these situations that I definitely recommend you talk to somebody. Why? Because there's so much information I need to know. Who are you working with? How long have you been working with them? Are you doing your exams with that? Are you full time? How many papers have you gotten? Are they putting you on papers? Are you going to conferences? Are you paid, unpaid? Have people who were in a similar position matched? I am. So it's just like that would be literally a full hour conversation to really understand the situation and dive deep into that. So for, it's usually a red flag if this is your third time applying, and you've been doing this research and it's not getting you anywhere. And that is something I actually touched on in the research positions workshop, is what is a good position, because a lot of people are in your situation exactly, where they apply and it's just not getting them anywhere, because not all positions are good positions to help you match. So I would highly recommend for this specific scenario to reach out to us. We can schedule a meeting with one of our advisors, and we can talk to them and they can understand the situation better and guide you on that. Explain again how to import LORs from ERS to SOAP. The LORs will automatically be there. If you submit it to a program, they will automatically be there. You don't have to redo anything. Will the programs be able to contact me during SOAP because I have given an international mobile number on the ERS, or do I need a US number? You definitely need a US number. They will probably not be able to reach out to you on an international number, because a lot of the carriers in the US will not call international numbers. So if the program director has a US number that does not allow calling in Pakistan or India, you lost your chance. So you have to figure a way out to be able to get a US number so people can call you easily. When exactly will SOAP interviews take place? They will start the interview process on March, let me see exactly the date. It's going to be on Thursday. So March 20th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Because you will, or you might actually receive interviews before that. So you might be contacted from programs anytime between 8 a.m. on Wednesday and 9 a.m. on Thursday. They might call you during any time. They might interview 30 people, and then they send the first 2 offers and then third offer or whatever offers they need. So the interview time is probably Tuesday at 8 a.m. until Thursday 9 a.m. And then they might call you anytime afterwards as well. Will I get the list of unfilled program for SOAP? Yes, so after SOAP, if you still did not match and there are programs that did not fill their spots, you'll get a list of these places. One thing to keep in mind for SOAP is that you're not allowed to reach out to programs. If you're participating in SOAP, you have to agree to not reach out to programs. So let's say you see University of Wisconsin has an empty program, you can't just call the program coordinator or call the program director. You have to wait until they contact you. After SOAP, once all the spots are released that you did not match, you did not fill, and SOAP is over, you can reach out to these programs. So you're saying that programs will reach out to applicants for interviews on Thursday. So no, I think it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and early Thursday. Does the match paperwork for J1 visa involve requirements from having institutions where we complete our medical school? I don't think it's medical school related. It's mainly the country has usually a ministry where they give all these statement of needs. Do we get an unpaid Yeah, it is possible to get paid research positions, but especially now with the new changes happening in politics in the US and stopping the funding for NIH, I would doubt, you, the most people probably be on unpaid positions because even real PhDs and high-end researchers are getting fired because of the lack of funding. I'm a US IMG. I would like to swap into IM but have 219 step to CK score and no other risk flags. Is it possible? I can't tell. This is one of the situations I can't tell. It depends on other applicants. Will there be other applicants better than you or not? It has to, it's a lot of variable factors. What is partially matched? Partially matched if you're in derm or anesthesia or radiology where you do apply for 2 spots at the same time, the PGY1 prelim or transitional year and the PGY2, the specialty that you're applying to. If you match in one of these two instead of two of them, it's partial match. If I had matched into 1 year program, will the SOAP apply? Categorical, yes. So that's exactly similar situation here. If you match into the prelim of derm, and then you would be eligible to participate in SOAP because you can go to the PGY2 derm. So yes. If we do match, any suggestions what to do besides celebrating? Yeah, you can prepare your paperwork if you need visas. You can start studying, finish step 3 if you can, because it's just something to get rid of before you start your residency. It's just so painful to study when you are working like 13 hours a day. Do applicants need a PDF version of the LOR programs ask them to send? Usually programs won't ask you to send the LOR because they should just have access to it through ERAS. Is it necessary to update the PS? I don't think it's necessary to update the PS because the same situation applies. I don't see much value in saying, I didn't match. They already know all these people participated in SOAP, they didn't match. But next year you might consider that. But I think for SOAP you don't need that unless the personal statement is not good. So if you know that your personal statement is good, it's great. If you think that my personal statement was not good at all and you need help, I recommend you update it. Are there residency spots available after SOAP? Yeah, as we said, there are spots after SOAP, and they will show you the list of programs that did not fill after SOAP. Does the number of interviews increase an applicant chance of matching? Yes, if you have it makes sense. If you have more interviews, more likely to match. I applied to psychiatry. May I use the LORs from psych to family medicine? You can use it. For sure you can use it, but will that count? Will they consider that, as a positive or negative? You don't have an option. If you don't have IM and FM LORs, you have to use the other LORs that you already have. But if you have you have FM, IM LORs, use these. Where do we find what paperwork we need for J1? So each country and each country, it's because it's mainly a country thing, is different regarding the visa stuff. So I highly recommend you reach out to people from your country that did it the year before, because also things change dramatically from year to another. For example, who issues this in India? Who issues this in Pakistan? It just changes a lot. So I highly recommend you reach out to people who met the year before, because 2 years ago it might have been already too outdated. If I imagine your prelim OBGYN surgery, do I need to apply through SOAP? So you can apply through SOAP, but you won't be able to match into PGY1 categorical spot because you already matched into a PGY1 spot, so you need to find PGY2 spots, which for these specialties usually don't happen through the match. Are there residencies available after SOAP? Yes, as we said, there are spots available after SOAP. So we're caught up on all the questions. Any other questions? I believe we covered everything regarding the SOAP. While if people still have any pending questions, if you're applying this match, you matched, amazing. We would really appreciate it, especially if you work with us, to recommend us to other clients, to people from your school, students who are preparing for the match, because our goal is to help people like you end up in their dream residency program. There are a lot of factors. We can't guarantee anything, but we do our best to make your personal statement, your ERAS application, shine, your interview prep with best advisors, all from top-notch institutions. You actually get to pick who you want to prep with, advising the same. We have customer support 24/7, so So they're always available to help you answer any questions you have. We talked about the post-SOAP match. Does the number of interviews increase? Yes, we answered this question. Is it difficult to get visa in the US as an IMG now? I would, especially for clinical jobs or residency spots, I think it's still not super hard. Why? Because they need these spots. Almost 25% of residency spots get filled by IMGs. So you can imagine it would be a disaster for the healthcare system in the US if they stop taking IMGs. So it is a need. The ESFMG understands that, the USCIS understands that, and they always try to let doctors in. So usually there is that sweet spot for specifically for people starting residency. What is the best way to determine whether you're eligible to apply to a program? Through SOAP, you will see the list of programs. It will tell you that you're eligible or not. But if afterwards, you just reach out to the program and see if they're interested in your application. J1, usually wait times, again, I'm not a lawyer, I cannot advise on that, but they usually also give you exceptions for that because they know that you have to start residency at a certain time, and this is a benefit for the US for you to come and help American patients. That's the best way to approach programs for post-match. You can email them. So you can email the program coordinator, email the program director, or even call them. Or do all of the above. We'll take a few more questions and then, we wish you best of luck and hopefully you end up in the program you want. But in the list, you may or not be eligible for the programs in that list. No, if that list is showing to you, that means you're eligible for these programs. Because if you didn't match in anything, usually you're eligible to apply to anything. PGY1, PGY2, but you have to be mindful, if you match into a PGY2 spot, you also have to secure a PGY1 spot. So, but if you match into a PGY1 spot, it will not show you PGY1 positions. So the program understands what kind of things you matched in and what you're eligible for. But you have to understand most things. If you're applying IM, are you gonna apply to derm? It just does not work. If you're applying for IM, you apply for PGY1 spot IM. You won't apply for PGY2, even if you're eligible for that, because you need a PGY1 spot. So you also have to understand what things are you applying to. Don't just apply randomly without looking. I'm currently on J2 EAD. Can I work on J2 EAD? I don't think so, but this is more of a lawyer question, and I highly recommend you reach out to a lawyer about that. Do you submit the application to ERAS on my ERAS? You need to, yes, so you submit your ERAS on ERAS, but then you go through the SOAP on the NRMP website. Could you please explain in detail how to apply for programs in SOAP? Is it through SOAP? Is it through ERAS or the NRMP website? So my understanding is, I'm not 100% sure on that, is that you submit your application through and you assign the programs through SOAP, through the ERAS, and you submit the application or apply to the programs through the NRMP. But I'm gonna double check tomorrow once the application opens for some of our clients, and I can post something about that. Do we still scan the programs websites for SOAP scores? You can, especially if you have a lot of programs to apply to and you only have 45 options, the maximum you can do. So you can look at their criteria and stuff. Yes, I think that would be good to limit the number of places you apply to, because you only have 45 places to apply to, and there might be more than 45 places in your specialty. For other IM, you suggest I apply for other specialties in SOAP? So that's a good question. It depends. Do you want to waste that spot? Because remember, most of the great programs already will be filled. So usually the lower tier programs will have available spots. So so you have to count, are there like 60 IM empty spots and you only want to match in IM? And now you have more than 45 options, so you might better use your effort in the IM rather than dilute these 45 into multiple specialties. But let's say there is only 30 specialties 30 spots in IM, in that case, you definitely need to apply to other specialties because you have more, you have 15 more places you can apply to, so you can use these spots. But if there's like 60 IM and you want to apply to 30, let's say IM and 15 family medicine, that is something to consider, but you need to think, do I have the application and the LORs and the experiences to support my application there? The J1 waiver, I have a video about that, so you can check that out. You can, again, I don't recommend same personal statement for two specialties. If you apply to multiple specialties, I recommend you adjust the personal statement for that, because also it will say my interest in internal medicine or family medicine. So it looks weird when you apply to a different specialty and you're saying that I'm interested in another specialty. What support do you offer for SOAP? So we help you with anything. You need interview prep, will help you with that. You need personal statement editing, will help you with that. ERAS application doesn't apply because, again, you cannot change your ERAS application. If you need advice on like different program and which program should I apply to or anything, it's hard for us to go and look into the details of each program. So it's gonna be, for this specifically, it's more a general advice. And if you can do the research on these programs and present us with the data, we can help you on that. But mainly interview prep and personal statement editing. You can apply for neurology and IM. Yes, you can apply to any programs you want. And so, best answer, why didn't you match? Again, it depends on your application. If you did not match because of a low score, you can say because of a low score. If you didn't do anything rotation-wise or research, so it depends totally on your application. But you need to portray that this weakness or the reason that you didn't match is not a major problem that will prevent you from being a good resident. Just think about that. So, sorry for that. There is a storm outside, and the electricity cut off for like a second. As you can hear, it's like. So I wish this web was helpful to you. If you're, one of our package clients, don't hesitate to reach out to Ali or Khalid or our WhatsApp for any questions you have. If you need anything else, so you can reach out to us at info@thematch.com. Our website will be guide here to reach out to us for any needs. Again, this is our email. If you need anything, just ask and every possible share recorded video so you can have if you need to. I wish you best of luck. Hope to match and you don't need to worry about I'm talking about today. Good luck, everybody. Not sure if you heard the last thing I said, but I was saying there was some storm happening outside and the electricity cut off. That brings us to the end of everything we talked about. I wish this was helpful. I hope tomorrow you don't need to worry about any of the things about SOAP and match and you match into your dream residency, but it's always good to be prepared. Sorry for the inconvenience with the storm outside and the electricity and the internet. That happens even in the US. But if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us at info@thematchguy.com, and I'll leave the email here. This is our WhatsApp. If you have any questions about any of the things we offer, or if we help you and you need continuous support, we are there to help you with everything you need. So wish you best of luck, and don't hesitate to reach out to us for anything you need. Good luck.
The recording has stopped.